Okay, well, my name is Mark Bennett. Good afternoon. I'm the contact between Key Bank and a lot of this paraphernalia up here now. We want to welcome everybody here to the presentation of the newly acquired gift here. And it's really neat that we're doing this on the Battle of Plattsburgh weekend. This just kind of happened by accident. It worked out perfectly. The Battle of T-Set have been on display downtown for over 40 years at the Plattsburgh office. It moved around a bit, but it stayed in that office. I'd like to introduce our three managers here from Key Bank, who have all had a hand in this at one time or not, or you will, if you have it. Okay, but Nicole Brown. Nicole is the manager and the assistant vice president at Skyway, not Skyway, Plattsburgh West. And that's Amanda Doyle, branch manager Champlain, is up there. And also Jennifer Harrison, Skyway office, right? Okay, we got everybody here. The battle has been on display, as I said, for 40 years, the T-Set. It was purchased, and if anybody knows the specific name, let me know. But it was purchased by the regional vice president here in Plattsburgh while he and his wife were on a walking tour of Greenwich Village. Back in it would have been late 50s, I guess, that they purchased this and wanted it to stay in Plattsburgh, to the Plattsburgh office. I would ask, when the office closed here down on Margaret Street in Brickerhoff, everything was cleaned out from that building as much as they could get at. And I was able to locate this finally after about 3 different phone calls and a couple of visits, and found out that all of this was in Syracuse, being held for the bank. And it was Syracuse. Okay, so I called up the regional president of New York, who used to be my boss, and told him, look, this is what we have up here. It's a very rare piece. It belongs in Plattsburgh. And he was off the phone until the afternoon, came back and said, Mark, it's yours. You can have it. And so what we did is we moved it from where it was down into the lobby, and that's when it disappeared. That somehow got to Syracuse, but we recovered it. So that was good. What I'd like now to do, though, to tell you what this is and how it came by here. And Keith Berklow, president of the museum, is the one that's going to give us some information on it.
All right,
Thanks, Keith.
First of all, thanks for coming. This has been a long time.
Yeah.
So this is Staffordshire china. It's actually something called semi-china. People don't know what that is. It's a softer grade. It's fired at a much lower temperature, and it allows them, in the early part of the 1800s, if you wanted a set of dishes that matched, you had to find an artist who would paint one of them, and then get another one and paint the other one, so it looked like the first one. So each one of them was really an individual piece. And this opened up this process. It's called transferware. It opened up a new way of thinking about eatery and tea sets and plates and all that. You could get the same image on every one of them. And the process is called transfer. What they do is they fire the original piece at a low temperature. It still stays very soft. Now, it's hard to the touch, but it's very soft. And then they take that, they have a copper plate. In this case, they took a copper plate and they put the image of the Battle of Plattsburgh Bay on that piece of copper, and then they would place the copper on a press, and they would put a special ink on top of it and oil it. Then they would burn off the oil, and they put a piece of paper on top of it, a film paper, and they put it on top of that and run it through the press. And what you're left with is the image that was in all the lines. And they would take that piece of paper, which was very I don't know what you'd call it. What do they use for baking? What's that stuff? Parchment paper? It was something like that, but softer. And they took it and they would wet the side of the pot or plate, take the image, and put it on top of it, and just press it down with soap and water, and it would adhere to the outside of the pot, or pottery, or plate. And they did that. They could make 20 or 30 of those all together. Same image on every one of them. And they would let it dry, and then after that process was done, they would soak it, and that softened the paper up. They pulled the paper away, and the image is left on. It transferred the image from the paper onto the ceramic. Then they would fire it again. And once it was fired, they would take it out of the kiln and let it dry, and then they started another process with an exterior glaze. And they put it back in the oven and let it bake. Not quite as high as porcelain. Porcelain is vitreous. Water doesn't go through it. But they would get it to a temperature which was something less than that, and they let it cool down. When they were finished with that process, it wouldn't cool down all the way. They would introduce a puff of cool air into the kiln at that point, and that changed the glaze on the outside of it to be almost transparent. So what you're going to see is a set of china, semi-china, and it's been done with the transfer process, and they all look the same, except for the pot. The pot's different. I don't know how they got the stuff on the pot, I really don't, but it's the same picture. It's fantastic. So Mark, if you don't have any problem, I'm going to pull this corner away. Okay? And there it is.
Wow.
What? Yes. So, yeah, please go ahead. That is the picture of McDonough's victory on the lake. And you'll see the image is the same on all of the pieces. And this goes right along with the painting next to it, which was in the bank on Brinkerhoff and Margaret Street. And now it's here. So we have, these are all original works of art in this room. We have another artist here, Elise Zielinski. She's an illustrator, and she also did the watercolor in the corner there.
That's amazing.
And that's it.
Gorgeous.
The mark is on the bottom. If you look in the top left-hand corner,
One
you'll
picture
see,
with the three of you.
you'll see a little
Want the three
map
names?
about the maker's mark on the
Nicole,
back.
do you want a picture with the
This
three
was,
names?
it came from Burstall, England. And this is the same place where
Still has some friends.
So if you talk about Wedgwood,
He'll call for
China,
advice occasionally on
this
something
China.
international stuff.
If you want your picture taken, the three of you, let me know. Lorraine, you're
Oh,
probably
okay.
better at it than
Oh,
me.
it doesn't matter.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
I'm gonna need to
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
One of the really nice things was, they had like a little history of how it was struck and all of that. But they have there's a mark on the back that proves it, but they didn't make one, say that, because of course in England, they didn't really want to celebrate in the victory. So they just made a very few of these to send to the United
Look at
States to
it,
sell.
you
So
see the image,
how rare it is.
it's upside down.
They don't
Why
know,
they did it?
they don't have a clue about.
museums.
And it's gonna
There's a lot of reflection in there that you see.
So, you're looking for like sponsorship?
Cool stuff.
The big side, how you wanna,
Well, I would suggest, I'm sorry, your name again is what?
Would it be easier for us to do the other side?
yeah.
This
Okay.
is a permanent exhibit.
Take a look and see it.
I'll read it upside down.
It's not going to
Johnny,
That's
I
right.
have one for
He's been doing a very long time
Okay.
now.
I would talk,
The doors are screwed
these three in the lane corner are all brown.
Thanks, Ann.
You're okay.
And that, what I would do is I would give them a card, or give them a card, introduce yourself. I can introduce you.
Yeah, I do kind of briefly now.
Yes.
I'll probably just be a staff
Slow, but it's probably just